Thanks for joining us at 4:30.
The news continues with Live at 5. Next, heavy flooding causes big problems across the area. We'll show you the places hit hardest, plus how the community is trying to fight the rising water. Live at 5 starts now.
Right now, from Milwaukee, this is today's TMJ4, Live at 5.
Right now at 5, Storm Team 4 in full effect. A massive storm system keeps dumping rain on southeast Wisconsin. Flooded roads are closed in many parts of the area, and a number of our counties are still under a flood warning.
Our team is set to bring you the latest. Ricky Mitchell reports on flooded roads from Waukesha County. Alyssa Wilson in the today's TMJ4 Storm Chaser on a dam that's causing worries right now.
But we start with meteorologist Jessie Ricka. She has the rain totals and the outlook for tonight in the Storm Team forecast.
Floodwaters have kept public works crews busy all day trying to get water off the roads.
Ricky Mitchell is live in northern Waukesha County with more on that. Ricky?
If you go slow, it's your call.
Earlier today, crews with the Waukesha County Department of Public Works were urging drivers to take it slow or not even risk it and turn around.
You never know how deep that water is, so don't guess.
Highway Operations Manager Robert Rochelle says they had to bring in pumps to try and move as much water as possible into a nearby field, but he described it as a losing battle.
Until Mother Nature stops raining, it's just the water's going to continue to come because the ground is frozen and it's not saturating in.
Nearby in this neighborhood, the owner of this shed said they had to quickly move stuff out so it wouldn't get damaged, as both their back and front yards became a lake. Water also kept flowing over this county road, where signs warn drivers of the high water.
My request to the public is if you see the signs and see the barrels, please slow down. Don't drive through the water unless you feel the absolute need to get through. Please find alternate routes.
Thank you, Kareem. A day like this can make what's normally one of the most scenic spots in all of Milwaukee look dreary. This was the scene along Lincoln Memorial Drive and the lakefront today. Not what you'd call picturesque. And certainly not a good day to be out and about like these folks on the UWM campus. A raincoat and an umbrella were must-haves today. A reminder to go to today's TMJ4.com for live radar, interactive maps, and any other weather information you need.
The former Milwaukee police officer involved in a deadly shooting that sparked unrest in Sherman Park is headed to prison. Dominique Hagan Brown was accused of sex crimes. Tom Duran is live at the courthouse to explain.
Sorry to everyone associated with this case in which their lives has been affected due to my lack of good judgment and poor decisions. I apologize to the Milwaukee Police Department, who works extremely hard to maintain public trust.
The state has rested its case in the trial of the Brown Deer police officer Devin Kramer. She's accused of shooting an unarmed man almost 2 years ago. Pete Servakis, live at the courthouse with an update. Pete?
One of them, an MPD detective who interviewed Manuel Burnley Jr. following the shooting. You'll hear his voice, but you won't see his face. The judge has banned us from showing all witnesses in this trial.
Did he say whether or not he could have scared the police?
Yes.
What did he say?
He said he could have scared the police.
How?
By him talking loud and his size.
Officers Devin Kramer and Michael Lehman escorted Burnley Jr. off a bus near 60th and Brown Deer in March of 2016. The driver told them Burnley Jr. was being argumentative. Once off the bus, all three people fell to the ground in a scuffle, and Kramer shot Burnley Jr. once in the back.
People on the bus said, "Ooh, she shot him, she shot him."
Burnley Jr. said he was not resisting cuffs, but Lehman testified too and said Burnley Jr. was resisting and at one point put a hand on the officer's neck. A fellow Brown Deer officer took the stand today and backed up that claim.
I could see that his neck was red. That's what he said. He had me by the neck.
New developments in the wake of the Florida school massacre. President Trump has asked the Justice Department to ban so-called bump stocks.
I signed a memorandum directing the Attorney General to propose regulations to ban all devices that turn legal weapons into machine guns. I expect that these critical regulations will be finalized, Jeff, very soon.
The president is referring to Attorney General Jeff Sessions. The president is scheduled tomorrow to have a listening session on school safety. Representatives from Parkland, Florida will be there, as well as people impacted by the Columbine and Sandy Hook school shootings.
The Florida State House today voted down a motion to take up a bill that would ban assault rifles. The vote effectively kills the measure for this session. Meantime, survivors of last week's massacre are mobilizing and taking their message to state lawmakers. More than 100 students boarded buses today for the Florida State Capitol. They're calling for sweeping gun control reform.
And we're all here because we need to strive for change, and the legislation needs to change because we've fallen victim to lazy legislation for far too long.
Wisconsin Attorney General Brad Schimel today suggested allowing guns inside Wisconsin schools. Schimel said he is open to letting teachers be armed. Schimel is a Republican and made his comments on WTMJ radio. They came as Madison High School students joined Democratic lawmakers in the state assembly to call for tighter gun control measures. Much of the area remains under a flood warning at this hour. Storm Team 4 updates just ahead.
And a Wisconsin police officer receives a very special honor at the White House.
Storm Team 4 coverage and a live picture from today's TMJ4 storm chaser. The rain keeps coming down and a flood warning remains in effect until 9:45 for Jefferson, Waukesha, Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha, and Walworth counties. Jessie Rick is gathering all the latest data for us. She'll have an update in just a moment.
The Antigua police officer who fatally shot a gunman outside of a high school prom was honored at the White House today. Officer Andy Hoffensberger was presented with the Medal of Valor by President Trump. Hoffensberger shot and killed the gunman after he'd injured 2 students outside the prom. Both of those victims survived.
A new ice cave has been discovered in Iceland, and it's called both breathtaking and dangerous. In fact, experts are strongly advising people against visiting the cave, which was formed because of geothermal heat. That means some dangerous gases can be found inside. There's also a high risk of collapse during melting.
We're keeping close watch on a potentially serious weather situation for you at this hour.
Much of southeastern Wisconsin remains under a flood warning. This is a live look at the Fox River in Waukesha, one of the areas affected by that warning. Jesse Ricka updates the situation for us next.
News for your health. The flu vaccine may protect people from heart attacks, especially people who are at high risk. The flu can cause inflammation that increases the risk of clotting in the blood and stress. And in some people, that can lead to heart attacks. Researchers in Canada say the flu vaccine has properties that act like a blood pressure medication.
This powerful storm system that's soaking southeast Wisconsin right now is pounding much of the southwest as well. In Cincinnati, the Ohio River has been overflowing its banks, flooding many area parks, roads, and homes. More rain is expected there later this week. And this is a scene near South Bend, Indiana, where heavy rains are causing flooding and road closures. Some cars, like these, were left stranded due to high flood waters.
We had ice problems in the northern part of our viewing area today, but nothing like this. An ice storm closed schools and caused several accidents in northern Iowa this morning. Next in sports, figure skating takes center stage at the Olympics. Lance Allen is live at the Pettit National Ice Center.
One of the biggest nights of viewership for the Olympics, the ladies' short program for figure skating. Brady Tennell is coached by Denise Myers of Twin Lakes, and Tennell says her coaching works because Denise just gets her.
I think because we've known each other so long, we know how the other works, and we kind of just feed off of that. And you know, she can tell sometimes when I would rather be alone, or you know, when I need a little pick-me-up or something. So it's nice to have that relationship to fall back on.
And Bonnie Blair Cruikshank continues to have the time of her life in South Korea. This is a shot of Paul Glomsky, the Pettit Center Ice Meister, who is driving the Zamboni at the speed skating rink for the Olympics. And you have to get a photo op of the 5 Olympic rings with MS, 5-time skating gold medalist herself. So how about some Korean culture? Outside of the Olympic Village, Bonnie took some video of fresh fish tanks. That's a Korean restaurant in Pyeongchang. Bonnie tells us chefs and workers will literally catch your dinner after you order it. Now that is fresh fish. And the men's hockey team keeps plugging along. They swamped Slovakia 5-1 to reach the quarterfinals. They will play the Czech Republic late tonight, and they're still alive for that medal.
We haven't won a gold medal for a long time. You know, I'm just really excited from the standpoint to show off where our country is as far as the depth that we have, you know, personnel-wise. And you know, these tournaments are short. These tournaments are run on a lot of emotion and momentum and energy. And you get off to a good start, and you build and you build and you build, and before you know it, you could be competing for a medal.
Well, that's it for sports tonight. We'll be back after the break.
Tonight's Badger 5 jackpot is an estimated $36,000.
Coming up on the Olympic Zone at 6:30, a breakout star in U.S. figure skating. Meet Brady Tennell, her journey to the Olympic glory, and the Wisconsin native who helped her get to South Korea. That's coming up on the Olympic Zone.
Alpine skiing, figure skating, bobsled, and snowboarding, all featured on NBC's primetime Olympic coverage tonight. Then join us after the games for Live at 10. We'll be on at 10:30.
And again, watch out as we are expecting more rain to move in. Thanks for joining us live at 5.
The NBC Nightly News is next.
Right now, from Milwaukee, this is today's TMJ4, live at 6.
Now at 6, widespread floods, a big concern as the rain starts to move out of southeast Wisconsin.
Waukesha County has been one of the largest hit areas. You can see a lot of high water signs have been placed around the area, with DPW crews asking drivers to be cautious out on the road.
And this was the Fox River in Burlington this morning. You can see levels approaching the top of its banks there. It's expected to crest at minor flood stage.
And down by the lakefront, there are several ponds forming near McKinley Marina as rain continued to fall earlier today.
There's an aerial flood warning for several counties in our viewing area.
Meteorologist Jesse Ritka is here with the latest on those, as well as when this rain could be out of here.
In Wheatland, water is already creeping up to homes.
Ben Jordan has more from residents who are still recovering from floods last summer.
Wheatland has already gotten a little over an inch of rain since last night, with another inch on the way. Some residents say it's bringing back bad memories of last summer. The sound of pouring rain turning front yards into ponds woke up Robert Batskill of Wheatland.
We hope that we don't get any more rain than this.
Overnight rain melted almost all of the snow, saturating the ground surrounding the Fox River as it continues to climb.
We've had rains in February when you don't need it, when there's ice on the river, you know.
Between Burlington and New Munster, the Fox River is beginning to swell past its banks, flooding nearby fields, bringing back a painfully familiar feeling for Batskill, who lives in a floodplain.
Last July, you had to get out. The water was up to my waist.
Batskill's house, that sits about 100 feet from the river, was destroyed.
It was all wet. You had to rip everything out, throw it in the dumpster.
While other neighbors said that was the last straw, Batskill decided to rent the house across the street.
It used to be nice. It never flooded like this.
This time around, Wheatland is projected to hit flood stage Tuesday afternoon and crest in a couple days after another 2 feet of water.
How many more of these can you take?
I don't know. I'm already 82 years old.
While this flooding event isn't expected to even come close to the historic levels they hit last July, Batskill says this community is already tapped out.
I don't really want it. Really.
Here in Wheatland, the Fox River is supposed to fall back below flood stage on Monday. For today's TMJ4, I'm Ben Jordan.
Many of you sending in pictures of flooding in your neighborhood. These images coming to us from the Jost family in Hartford. Mom says Tegan and Taven tubed their way down their driveway.
Another picture, this one from Elkhorn, shows roads closed because of standing water. Send us more of your photos and they might be on TV.
The demand for nursing assistants is expected to jump 11% by 2026 nationwide. As Brandon Rook tells us, this is expected as the baby boom population ages, increasing the demand for patient care.
There you go. Perfect.
Sarah Skronsky, an instructor at Gateway Technical College, says because of the driving demand for nurses, the school is partnering with the state to make a little bit of a difference. The school is launching a state initiative next week to certify 3,000 nursing assistants in our state, all for free through a federal grant.
I hope that there's people out there that have wanted to get into caregiving, and then I hope that this is the thing that gets them into caregiving.
Along with the aging population causing the need for jobs, an aging workforce plays a role as well. According to the Wisconsin Center for Nursing, nearly 30% of southeastern Wisconsin nurses are 55 and older, which is predicted to cause a shortage gap by 2035.
It's going to be a first come, first serve.
After completion, some students will also have the opportunity to transition to a career at a long-term care facility. If they stay and work in Wisconsin for at least 6 months, students will receive a $500 bonus.
It's a great start.
A foundation that's making an impact on Wisconsin's healthcare system.
Well, I was going to read it, but the prompter did the thing. Back to you.
It's been an unrelenting flu season, and it's still not over. Federal health officials are still encouraging people to get the flu shot. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar tells me the new numbers show the flu vaccine has been effective in 36% of adults, but much better in children.
It has proven effective in 59% of children, and of the children who tragically have died in this year's flu season, 75% of them were not vaccinated.
Secretary Azar says work continues on efforts to develop a universal flu vaccine, but that possibility is still down the road.
Milwaukee's former health commissioner breaks his silence on the city's lead issue. Bevan Baker abruptly resigned last month, shortly after an investigation was launched into why some families were not notified of the heightened lead levels found in kids.
Baker released a statement today saying he is certain the investigation will show he acted in the best interest of the residents of Milwaukee and did not do anything wrong.
New at 6 just released police body cam shows what Mequon police found when they stopped 2 men accused of bringing guns and drugs to a basketball game at Homestead High School. The video was taken after the suspects from Sturgeon Bay were pulled over for a traffic stop. Police found drugs as well as 5 guns. The suspects are due back in court next month. Former Milwaukee police officer Dominique Hagan Brown knew he was going to prison. Today we learned for how long. Hagan Brown was acquitted in the shooting death of Sybil Smith, but faced time for a sexual assault. Tom Durian is live now with what he had to say.
Sorry to everyone associated with this case.
Dominique Hagan Brown's family members were visibly emotional when they heard him speak for the first time in this case. The former police officer telling the judge he was sorry and planned to use his time in prison to address his PTSD from after the Sybil Smith shooting.
Some days I feel as if my heart will fail me any day, but I am desperately looking forward to seek the adequate services.
Hagan Brown's attorney argued that while the shooting case shouldn't be a factor in this sentence, it was certainly a factor while the alleged incidents were happening.
There came a time when my client became, for a certain segment of the community, I guess, public enemy number 1.
The state outlined 3 charges of prostitution, 2 of taking intimate photographs without consent, and false imprisonment.
The defendant is a manipulative narcissist. He sought out people that he knew, and he manipulated them using either their need for money or alcohol.
The judge questioning Hagan Brown's judgment as one of the crimes happened as the city was reeling from the Sherman Park shooting.
What ends up happening is he is at a bar as the city is burning, running amok.
A man saves his friend's life by flagging down Milwaukee County Sheriff's deputies. Deputies were altered on the freeway and followed the man to 12th and Fond du Lac. There they found a woman who was having an overdose. They began CPR until medics arrived and revived her with Narcan. Still ahead on Live at 6, helping the hungry, why more than just food was donated to the local pantry today.
And then Milk for Moms, how a new dispensary in Brookfield is helping babies in the Metro Milwaukee area.
You're watching today's TMJ4 with Charles Benson, Shannon Sims, Storm Team 4 meteorologist Jesse Ritka, and Lance Allen, Sports.
Spoiler alert, here's a look at the latest gold medal count. Norway continues to dominate with 11, but Germany has tied them. Canada and the Netherlands have 8 and 6 gold medals. France and Team USA both have 5.
And here's a look at which events are on TV tonight. Alpine skiing, figure skating, bobsled, and snowboarding are all in action. The games start at 7 after the Olympic zone. And still ahead, hear how local kids went above and beyond for other children in need.
We're back after this. They're open until 8 o'clock across southeast Wisconsin if you still want to vote. The only statewide race in today's primary is for the state Supreme Court Justice. Rebecca Dallett, Tim Burns, and Michael Skrenick are the candidates on the ballot. The general election is April 3rd. New at 6, there wasn't just food being donated to Hunger Task Force today. Along with canned goods, the Milwaukee Art Museum donated 100 handmade bowls. The bowls were made by the kids to help feed kids at La Causa Crisis Center in Milwaukee.
We need supplies all the time, just like you would need in your house, only for 12 kids rotating each day. And then they'll also go home too.
All the bowls, as well as the food collected from a drive in January, will be donated to La Causa Crisis Nursery and Respite Center. New at 6, moms in need now have immediate access to human donor breast milk. The organization Mother's Milk Bank of the Western Great Lakes has chosen Brookfield for its new dispensary location. Amelia Jones joins us with more.
More moms in Southeast Wisconsin need milk. That's why the Mother's Milk Bank of the Wisconsin Great Lakes organization asked a Brookfield pharmacy to help.
It's one of only 2 dispensaries statewide. MD Custom RX is the new home for Brookfield's first human milk dispensary. Mother's Milk Bank of the Western Great Lakes contacted the family-owned pharmacy last fall. Dad John Waklowski and daughter Monica Zatarsky said they happily answered it.
Not only Monica and I and Dan, you know, the family business, but as human beings, that's what we do.
All right, bye. To get the milk, mothers must have a script from their doctor, and just like any other prescription, the pharmacy fills it. A human milk dispensary helps mothers in many different situations, like surrogacy, adoption, or difficulty nursing. One of the most common, premature babies.
The baby comes early. We think that about 50% of preterm mothers can't make enough milk to meet the baby's need.
As a pharmacist and mother herself, Monica says nursing is hard. She says without this dispensary, moms are more likely to use questionable milk.
They can find black market, a lot of unknowns when you don't know who or what your source of breast milk is.
MD Custom Pharmacy is having a ribbon cutting ceremony this Friday at noon to celebrate the dispensary program. This event is free and open to the public, and we'll be back right after this.
Welcome back to the Pettit National Ice Center. I'm Chloe Herkus. High-level sports, always tough. Today, former Badgers quarterback Joel Stave spoke to kids at Madison Elementary in Tosa to tell them about life in the NFL.
I know that if I don't work out, if I don't do the things I need to do, I probably won't be as good as I need to be. I think the biggest thing is just trying to keep a little balance. You know, I know a lot of kids have aspirations in sports and stuff like that, and I was the same way. I love sports, but you know, knowing the importance of school, the importance of reading, writing, math, everything like that. You kind of just adjust to the new coaches and how they like to run things. Even if I do have a great career and play for another 10 years or something like that, I'd still only be 35, and you got to go get a real job at some point.
Stavi has played on 5 teams in 2 professional seasons.
It's easy to look at a team like the Packers and you see Clay Matthews and Aaron Rodgers, guys who have been there for 10 years, but if you look at the back half of that roster, it's changing not only yearly but weekly.
But his collection of jerseys is pretty sweet. We'll let him go through the list.
Vikings, Seahawks, Chiefs, Redskins, and finally with the Jets. So
it's not a bad jersey collection.
No, I mean it'll be fun to be able to talk about when I'm older and everything like that. And I've had some really cool experiences. Got to meet some really cool people.
Yeah, nice to meet you. The first full squad workout for the Brewers in Phoenix, Arizona. The pace of play is a topic in baseball. Mound visit limits in effect, which Craig Counsell might be on board with.
I do think we can improve, collectively, we can improve the pace of the games. But I don't think we've agreed on the best way to do it.
And finally, Bubba Watson just won the PGA Genesis Open. He also became a Jockey Family ambassador, and the two have him going a little bit wild.
I'm Bubba Watson. As Jockey's newest ambassador, I'll do anything to spread the message for post-adoption support, even this. You're welcome.
That's it for sports. We are back after the break.
Here's what's coming up next on the Olympic Zone. Meet Brady Tennell, her journey to Olympic glory, and the Wisconsin native who helped her get to South Korea. That's next on the Olympic Zone.
And as you can see, just grab your umbrellas, maybe some rain boots, and you will be fine this weekend. Thanks for joining us at 6.
The Olympic Zone is next.